Today I'm going to be talking about isolated pawns. Now, isolated pawn has one advantage. Each pawn can provide mutual defense for one another. Let's say if one pawn were to move up. If one pawn moves up, then black can continue chasing it. Other pawn can keep moving up by itself safely, so that even if black were to capture one pawn, this pawn will be hopefully above enough to at least promote before black can catch up. This movement is also highly dependent on where white's king in this position is. If he's not too close and black's about to capture a pawn, then this game could be useless and it could end in a draw. Therefore, a king's support is crucial, but at the same time isn't always necessary as long as your pawn is far enough advanced in front of the black king. Let's begin this position. This is a very key position. Black is one step behind one pawn, but luckily white's king is very nearby. Black's first move may be simply take a pawn to reduce the advantage that white has. Now, of course, white could move up. In this case, black cannot move anywhere over, as these three squares right here are being blocked by white himself. Black king's only option is to try and move up and to try to get up in front of white to hopefully block the pawn from promoting. White's best option is to move his king up, to continue support for his pawn and control future squares, and prevent black king from moving over to the side to block the pawn. Black's only option is to keep moving up. We should always remember in any case, or in some cases, I should say in most important cases, that you should continue moving your king up, as your king can provide the most amount of support for your pawn, and can also move back down if necessary. Black's only option may be to move up again, and at this point is when we can start moving the pawn up. White's king is the most dominant position. He controls a free last square upon which the pawn can promote upon. Black's option at this point may be to move down, to at least try capture that pawn. This pawn can make one step up, black can try and move a little bit closer, but it's already been too late, because at this point, white can move his pawn up, and black can simply just move around, try his best, and at the end of the day, finally lose, and we have a pawn that can promote. Happy checkmating. Now in this position, if white were to play, it isn't that much different. Black may eventually take the pawn, but if you remember crucially, as long as you keep moving white's king up, as a more kind of sped up method, basically what happens is that the white can constantly protect the pawn. Black can try keep moving up and try to stall in front of white, but white always has a crucial move ahead of him that allows him to control the free last squares. And that's, if we watch this whole scene play out, eventually white's gonna promote his pawn. When white finally promotes his pawn, is when white can finally start checkmating black. Happy checkmating. But I always want to remind you in this case, when a two pawns are isolated, this provides a mutual defense, as now black has control over two pawns who are potentially across the board. Generally, having your pawns more farther apart from each other allows for one pawn to buy time for another pawn to advance to the final ranks. But and always a reminder, try to keep your king close to either one of these two pawns, or at least in the middle. So at least like, if one pawn gets captured, at least your white can move to the other pawn to try to protect it before black can come over and block that pawn. So therefore, in this position, king support is always crucial. Try to maintain your king within the middle of these two pawns, if necessary.